Hi everyone, my name is Lydia and this is what I wish they taught me about econometrics and introduction. We've learned so far that we can use the t-tests on one coefficient and the f-test for several coefficients jointly. But what happens if we use the f-test to test just one restriction? Something very interesting happens. So suppose that we have a null hypothesis where we're checking beta 2 is equal to 0 on a multiple regression. So that means we just have one single restriction, which means that Q is actually equal to 1. Now, normally, whenever we see this kind of null hypothesis, we would do that with a t-test. And given the fact that our restriction is 1, further indicates that this is exactly what the t-test would already test. Now, recall from the formula that we learned, or one of the formulas that we learned for the F statistic was the following one. So RSS of the restricted minus RSS of the unrestricted model divided by Q, then RSS of the unrestricted model divided by n minus k minus 1, where we said that the k was the number of the betas that you had in the unrestricted model, and the q is the one for how many restrictions you are checking on. Now, when q is equal to 1, this entire thing disappears, okay? Now, it can actually be shown, and without going through the heavy algebra in this video, because that's not the point of this video, we can actually show that the f-test is equal to t squared when we are testing for a single coefficient. Okay? Now, why would this make sense? Keep in mind, the t-test measures distance from 0 in standard errors. The f-test measures improvement in fit. And that we made, like, the moment that we added more variables. For instance, when we looked at the f-test of the entire model, we were looking how does that improve from using just the mean on a point where we wouldn't have had any of these x variables. Now, when there is only one restriction, both questions, so the t-test, this distance from 0 in standard errors, and the improvement in the fit, mathematically, they will be the same when there is only one restriction. So, in a sense, the F distribution with numerator degrees of freedom equal to 1 is just the square of a t distribution. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you had a t-test and the result out of that was that you reject the null hypothesis at the 5%, it means that also the f-test, where you have only one restriction, will also reject it at the 5%, because they will give you identical decisions. The only difference between the t-test and the f-test will be that the t-test can be two-sided, so one-tailed or two-tailed, while the f is always one-sided. But keep in mind, here the relation that we found was that f is equal to t squared, and squaring removes the sign. So the key bottom line here is that when testing a single restriction, the f-test is going to be just the squared t-test. This is not tested that much in most of the curricula, but there are some courses where you might be simply hinted at this, and there might be multiple choice questions sometimes that ask you to just be aware of this fact. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.